The purpose of this video is to explain SoFresh, a pin-based behavior modification system and staff support system that is in play at E.B. Williams Stoner Hill Elementary, located in Shreveport, Louisiana. It is created by Dietrich Phelps and Jeff Lee, I being Jeff Lee. First, quick history. So this system, when I arrived in 2018 to 2019 at Stoner Hill, my first year, I observed the system in play. And before my arrival, Mr. Phelps was implementing the system, and it was completely done by him. The 4th and 5th grade teachers, they were all a team. There was nothing on paper. Now, when I came in and I observed it, and he informed me about how it worked, the mechanics of it, why we do this, why we do that. Well, the system pretty much, at least for me, sold itself. So I was fully on board my first year in, and that was in 2018 to 2019. So now the present year is 2019 to 2020, and what we've done thus far is we implemented the OWL pins. It started at week 2. And it is present across 3 grade levels. And what we're trying to do right now is we're seeking other schools to run the system as well. Now, when we say other schools, we don't mean as in your 3rd to 5th grade, all of them. No, it's not like we're going to try and, it would be ideal at some point in time, at some stage. But right now, maybe if you and your teacher partner are interested, your grade level partner, we could do just your grade. We prefer, 3rd grade would be ideal, because if they know the system in 3rd grade and you guys end up using it in 4th grade in the first year of its implementation, well, then your 3rd graders, when they become 4th, they'll know what's going on. So it'll be an asset to your 4th grade teachers. And we don't necessarily want to just go to your principal and say, hey, this is how the system works, let's do it. We would rather just have, assuming your principal is okay with pins, your administration, we'll just have you and your teacher partners, grade level class students, run the pin system, see how it works. And if it does well, and we want this to be sort of like word of mouth. Well, then your 2nd grade teachers are having some issues, and if they ask that, hey, this pin thing that you're doing, is it working well? And you say it's working well. Then the 2nd grade is in on it as well. And then, of course, that sort of just spreads like wildfire. That's the goal of this. That's how we, at this point in time, we would like for it to get out, not to just go to your principals. So this is what the system looks like when it's in play. I've illustrated that the rain is, I guess this will be poor student behavior. And the pin system acts like an umbrella, and it shields everyone underneath from poor student behavior. The great thing about this is that anyone can grab onto it. Anyone can come underneath and be shielded under the umbrella if they so choose. And it does require a buy-in from everyone. The more on board, the stronger the umbrella. And I'll explain more on how it works later on, or in a moment. So, who's directly involved? And when we say directly involved, we mean that their students wear the pins. Also, they enforce the reward. So at Stoner Hill Elementary, for 2019 to 2020, we have 6 regular education teachers, 1 special education teacher, myself, and 1 paraprofessional. Then we have those who are indirectly involved. That meaning those individuals who are aware of the system and have the power to take away student pins, thus affecting their reward. So basically everyone else, enrichment teachers, your support staff, admin, just about anyone or any staff that requires assistance. Anyone on campus can be indirectly involved. And then again, I'll get to that. I'll have some actual examples in a moment. So here's a direct involvement example number 1. In a regular education classroom, a student X has amazing behavior for the AM. By AM, we define that as in morning bell to enrichment. So, their teacher, on the way out to enrichment, rewards them with the pin. Assuming they don't lose it in the hallway, they'll get their midday reward after lunch. Again, midday reward will be explained in a moment. So here's an indirect involvement example. Grade X goes to enrichment before the pins. If the students were out of line, the enrichment teacher has no way of influencing their behavior other than whatever tools they've developed. Now, because of the pin system, the enrichment teacher has leverage over whether or not the student receives their midday award. The same goes with support staff, RTI, cafeteria, any non-teacher. You see this scenario pop up in enrichment. I mean, okay, kids, have fun in enrichment. There you go. And what does the enrichment teacher have if the kids are running wild, right? What are they going to do? Buzz the office. Admin comes down, takes one or two away. Like, it's the same thing over and over, right? There's no. What is the light at the end of the tunnel in a situation like this? Well, this is why we have the pins, because now students will have a daily reward if they have the pin, and there's also a weekly reward on that as well, which we'll get to later on. We're just giving enrichment teachers, RTI staff, alpha staff, we're giving them more options. This goes back to the umbrella. Everyone can be a part of it. Okay. Indirect involvement example number 2. The first or second grade teacher has a student with behavioral issues. He or she sends the student to a staff member directly involved. The result, the student is given a pin, placed in the same system as the other students. This is a true story. It happened this year, maybe a few weeks ago. Again, this was a person who was indirectly involved. It was a teacher, but the teacher wasn't part of the direct team. They weren't in the 3rd to 5th grade level. They were a second grade teacher, or a first, or even kindergarten. So, but because of the existence of this umbrella, they could come in, they could send their student to one of us, and then, hey, we get that student involved in the system, and it helps the student out, and it helps the teacher out. Because again, what are they going to do? Call the office. This behaviorally challenged student goes to the office, comes back. The cycle just repeats. What's the point? Okay, one moment. Sorry. So now his midday, the student, his midday reward is now tied to his behavior. The teacher is now under the umbrella's protection. And I think I just touched on this. You're thinking, why not send the child to the office? Yes, that's a perfectly reasonable thought, but then what? What's the end game? The child goes to the office each time over and over. We've seen this movie before. Nothing changes. The cycle repeats itself in an infinite loop. And it's not just second grade students. It can be 3rd, 4th, or 5th. They go to the office, maybe sit there for, who knows, maybe like 30 minutes. They come back. Or you send a referral. They come back later on. It's kind of pointless. Something has to change. So just by knowing that we have a pin system in place that is used to modify behavior, this teacher, that first or second grade teacher, who is outside of the umbrella, is now inside and receiving help. It's a win for the teacher, administration, and the student. The reward is everything. The heart of the system is the reward, not a teacher-centered reward, but one that the student loves, or the one that the student picks. For us, it's a mix of recess, Takis, and freeze pops, also called flavored ice. If the reward doesn't matter to the student, you have nothing. So this is very important. The reward has to be what they enjoy, not something you pick, not iPad time, not cupcakes. Pick something that they will enjoy, and you can do this through showing of hands, maybe a survey, do something, but that the goal is the reward is something they love. Otherwise, the whole thing is pointless. Let's see. Okay, before discussing what rewards we use and when we give them the reward, keep in mind that you do what works for you. The system and its principle cannot be changed, but there are a few things that can be changed. For example, you can't afford XYZ on a daily basis. Find an alternative that the students are okay with. We recommend, whether it's through verbal questioning or a survey, find out what they want. You're looking for a daily reward. If you have enough team players, throw in a Friday reward. In our system, we have a daily reward and a Friday reward, which is a PARTY. More on that later. Our daily rewards, 2 of them, are broken down into an AM and PM reward. The AM reward are these freeze pops. They're like, you can buy them from Sam's Club. I'll have the link later. It's given to them after lunch to those who have kept their pin. The PM reward, recess, is given after 3 p.m. bell. Once more, if you don't have the resources, give them. No, you could just give them an AM and PM recess. We have recess at the end of the day, so it's very convenient for us. So you're saying, oh, so it's just a pin and reward system. That's it. Physically, that would be correct. However, it isn't that simple. The easiest way is to show precisely how we run it at Stoner Hill Elementary. As we go step by step, you'll begin to see the additional elements that are put into play. Now, these next few slides are going to get kind of wordy, so I apologize, but they have to be as detailed as possible so you understand, every single element. Okay, so here we have I made a table. So first, the first column is the time, setting, and location details, followed by what's being said to the student and other notes. So we'll do this chronologically. So in the morning, after they finish using the bathroom and they're lined up in X rows by classroom, we have 2 4th grade classes, so we have 2 rows. You're going to have to be out there and remind them about the pin and their midday reward. The goal is to help them keep focus. Some kids may have the attention span of a fly. So, again, or a squirrel, sorry. So, you have to tell them, hey, remember everyone, if you earn your pin by lunchtime or right after lunch, you will get a reward. It happens every day. So, be on your best. This schedule format is based on 4th grade. You'll make modifications as needed. So in the morning, don't hand out the pins. They are to be earned in class. So our schedule from 8 to 10:30, it's ELA and social studies, or the other 2 subjects. Now, from the morning to the clock getting closer to 10:30, teachers are gradually handing out pins to students that have earned it based on their behavior. Once the transition to enrichment begins, all students are given pins, even those who didn't earn it in the classroom. I'll explain why. Those that aren't are told something along the lines of, although you didn't earn it in class, you'll still have a chance for the reward if you don't lose it during the hallway, enrichment, and lunch. Let's see. So we realized that one flaw in this system is that students could purposely crash and burn in the homeroom and just think to themselves, okay, I'll burn, I'll just do nothing in the homeroom, and then guess what? I'll get my pin when I go outside, when we transition, and all I got to do is keep it during enrichment and lunch, and boom, the reward is mine. We thought about this. Okay, we recognize that this is sort of like a little flaw in the system, but the thing is, first, teachers need to do what works best for them. They can't revamp the whole system for the troubled few. We're simply casting the net as wide as possible. We can't catch them all, but we can try. Now, now it's enrichment and lunchtime. So this is where enrichment teachers and support staff come into play. They're in on the system, they understand it, and they have the power to take the pin away from students that demonstrate poor behavior. If the system didn't exist, what would they have? The only thing they could say is, hey, be quiet, please be quiet. All of X grade, no more talking. That's all they have, right? Just like verbal warnings. But now they have some leverage. They can take away a reward from the student if they do too much in the cafeteria or during enrichment. The system helps to maintain good behavior for the enrichment teachers and lunch duty staff. They do appreciate it. If a non-teacher takes the pin, the student loses their midday reward. Hopefully they'll remember to give the pin back to one of their teachers. Okay. So now it's after lunch. Now what we do is we have them line up in the breezeway. After using the bathroom, classes will form one straight line. We have 2 classes per grade level. You will adjust as necessary, as always. Once that line is ready, and this is after they've been to the bathroom, we filter students into 3 lines: straight line, A line, and don't care line. The straight line are your solid students. A line are those that are fit 50, and those that don't care is obviously the ones that perform terribly. You should, or you could, I'd say you should put them on the wall, and you separate them. Don't let them talk to each other. If they talk to each other, they're like their own little clique over there. Then what's the point? Spread them as far away as possible. This is where you need extra staff to help watch them as well, to help monitor. This is the part where you need other teachers, okay, blah blah, to help the process. This is what we do. With the daily reward being freeze pops, we have person A form them into a straight line. Here at our school, it's Mr. Phelps. With information from the teachers, they're separated into the line they deserve to be in. While this takes place, person B, usually me, gets the reward ready. Once lines are formed, the reward is passed out to those on the straight line that have their pins. It's a trade. They give you the pin, you give them the reward. Make sure you have a plastic bag and a student to help you out. The student holds the bag as you're passing the straight line by one. The pin goes in the bag, and you give them the reward. Sorry, I know it's a wall of text, but again, I'm trying to be as detailed as possible. Again, the system is flexible. Should you choose to give them a 10 to 15 minute recess, then you'll have to work out a procedure to make it happen with the resources you have available. If you can find, let's just say, an RTI staff member to help you out, then the two teachers are watching the line, and the RTI staff member will take the straight line. They'll take the straight line to the playground or something like that. You guys have to work this out. As long as the reward is given, the pin is collected. That's what you're shooting for. Okay, once rewards are given and pins are returned to the teachers, we typically have Mr. Phelps provide a speech lesson about control. This is the Braveheart moment where you have to sort of rally the troops and explain to them about, hey, you need, by control, you have to be able to control your mouths and your bodies in class, in enrichment, in the cafeteria. In addition, it's also a time to remind the students that they've made it halfway through the day. If they can earn their pins once more, they'll have their it should be afternoon recess somewhere here. Sorry. The goal here is to emphasize, this is the Braveheart moment. Hey, to emphasize that, hey, kids, your goal is to move from the worst line to the best line. Not to let those on the lower lines drag you down to their level. So again, this is, you modify whatever you need to modify, but as long as you understand that gist of what we need them to do, and they understand what we want them to do. That's what this is all about. Mr. Phelps trains our students through the use of commands. Think military. Very simple commands such as check up, where individual students stomp their right foot once, position their arms parallel to the ground, and place their fists together. Our students are trained for a handful of actions and our sayings. At this point in time, don't worry about being informed or educated on all or any of them. The focus right now is perfecting the execution of the system. Now we are on to the final half of the day. It is no different than the first few hours of classroom time in the morning. All students have to re-earn their pin in order to have their afternoon reward, which is recess. Our recess is 3 to whenever, so it makes sense for us to do it this way. If your recess time is different, I highly suggest you get with your principal or instructional coordinator to modify the schedule. If not, you'll have to think of something else as the end of day reward. Oh, one more additional note on this. So I think our 5th grade level, they just give them the pins off the bat once they're in. And the thing is, okay, as of today anyhow, which is September 14th, 2019, I feel that making them earn the pins as the day goes by, or as the afternoon goes by, it's better, because then they have to be disciplined and patient and understand that they're always, the radar is always active as far as their behavior is concerned. They have to be alert and aware that, hey, I kind of want my recess, so I better not fool around or clown around. Now, if you give them all of them the pin, well, what happens if one person loses it 10 minutes in? Well, then I guess they might just crash and burn for the rest of the afternoon. So, and maybe they have no mental endurance. and that's why they lose. And some begin to lose it 15, 20 minutes into the final half of the day. So it's better. It's more for them. It's better to just hold on to the pins and start dispersing it. In the last 30 minutes of the day. Okay, so now we have what we call So Fresh Friday. This is the weekly reward. And in order to participate, students have to earn their way in with, you guessed it, the pin. For us, in order for a student to participate, they must have 3 solid days of behavior. We define this as, you need to give me, your teacher, the pin at the end of the day for 3 days. This means they're allowed to have 2 bad days. Always emphasize 3 solid days over, hey, do you have more than 2 bad days? Use more positive words than negative. So if they have 3 solid days, they're in. And as you progress through the year, you may tighten things up and ask for 4 solid days. For us, on Friday when 2:40 hits, this is what we do. All students, in or out, walk to the wing with their teachers nearest the playground. Those that make it go to the playground. Those that don't are escorted back to your homeroom. This is where, again, you need RTI support staff, you need a paraprofessional, you need your special education teacher, you need someone to watch these kids when they're outside on for So Fresh Friday. Because you, the teacher, will take them, those that don't make it, right back to the classroom. So your support staff, everything needs to be ready. We want to be as efficient as possible. Maybe support staff, they start going out at 2:20. So they should be out there with whatever the team has agreed to have out as their reward. For us, we will give them a freeze pop. That's optional because they received one during lunch or after lunch, and a bag of Takis. In addition, we have a tailgate music box that plays music they listen to. You'll need someone to download the songs, clean versions of course, off YouTube. I like to use yteammate.com. It'll help you, you put in the link from YouTube to yteammate and it'll download the song for you. Well, it'll convert it and then you download it. And then you'll transfer it to your cell phone and connect it to the music box via Bluetooth. So that's pretty much how we run the behavior modification system on a daily basis. Plus, So Fresh Friday. There are a few additional things that we, Mr. Phelps and I, do for students that need stronger support, but I've excluded that information. For now, the goal for anyone reading and watching this is to learn the system. Furthermore, should you decide to run the system, the more staff that buy into it, the better. The lowest grade we have running the system is 3rd grade. Depending on how things go, we may ask, or maybe they'll ask us, for 2nd grade to join in. Starting the system/structure at an earlier grade level is definitely a plus. If the student is exposed to the system and they learn of it in 2nd grade, they'll know the expectations in future grades. So your 5th grade teacher, they'll say, "Oh, were you here last year? Oh, so you know the system." If you have a 3rd grade teacher, "Oh, hey, young kid, were you here last year? Oh, you were? Okay, then you know the system as well." So it helps to not have to explain everything once more. We're always trying to modify and evolve the system. If XYZ works great for you and vice versa, we'd like to know about it to help perfect the system. The system isn't a magic pill that solves every behavior issue you have in the classroom, but we hope it helps with the majority of your problems. Okay, here we go. Costs. The items involved are Flavor Ice, Giant Pops, and Takis, a case of 46. Both of these can be bought at Sam's Club. So the reward costs. Let's assume every grade level is responsible for their own students. If we assume grade X has two rosters with a total of 40 students, here's the weekly amount required. There's all the math, so it's about $11.25 per teacher per week. If the cost of Takis is too much, you could substitute it with an item they like. Or you could just say, hey, how about just music, another giant pop, and yeah, how about that, right? And that'll lower your costs for you. But I mean, we like to do the Takis on Friday because that's a special thing, right? It's an upgrade, so it makes sense to do it on Fridays. Now the pins. The pins can be custom made at purebuttons.com. I can do all the work for you if you want to, no problem. 100 pins, $30. You could just get 50, since if it's just for you and your teacher partner, but it'll cost more due to the shipping. So 100 pins, $30. If you implement the system for us correctly, give us feedback, and help us track behavior-related data, I'll pay for the pins. And of course, I want them back, naturally. And here are just some examples of pins. This is the regular pin. It has the owl with hashtag so fresh. Very cute. Now this is the power pin. For the power pin, we give it to, it's 2 per class. These are for students that they never get in trouble. So they're when they have this pin, they're more like hall monitors, and they have the power to take away pins from the regular folk. But again, I did not talk about this earlier in the video, because learning the system right now is pretty much the main focus. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is, I guess I'll add this right now so I don't forget. Okay, so one note. Let me copy one table real quick. Okay, one very important note. For the first week only, always, regardless of behavior, give them the reward. Why? We want the kids to experience the reward. Think of it like winning the lottery. Once you win the lottery, and you get that rush of adrenaline, you'll keep coming back for more. Oh, I can't spell. Okay, there we go. In this case, the students need to feel the excitement and taste of the reward. Once they do, they'll want it again. They'll want it again. If they never experience it, they may not care for the reward. I hope that makes sense. First week. In the first week only, you always give them the reward. Everyone's invited to So Fresh Friday. And then you let them know. Again, you can tell them on Friday, or you tell them the following Monday. You tell them, hey, now that you've experienced what it's like, you have to now earn your way into getting them on a daily basis and on the So Fresh Friday basis. So I believe that concludes the video. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. Again, there are a few things that I purposely did not discuss, such as the power pins. Let's see. There's also a third regular pin that we have. It just says hashtag so fresh. But I mean, for the owl, our mascot is the owl. That's why we picked that. If yours is something else, we can adjust it. I can adjust it for you. I can go on the website to purebuds.com, make it into whatever with the hashtag so fresh. Order it for you. I can do the whole thing for you, no problem. We just need other schools to join in on us, and we want to see how this goes. Ideally, maybe maybe even halfway through the school year, we have 3 or 4 schools in Caddo Parish that are in on it, 3rd to 5th grade, and so then it's word of mouth. Then principal is asked, hey, where did this come from? Where did this originate? And we would like for you guys to tell them, hey, it came from Mr. Lee and Mr. Phelps over at Stoner Hill Elementary. They get in contact with us, and it takes off from there. That's the vision at this point in time. If you have any questions, feel free to send myself or Mr. Phelps an email. Thank you very much.